Hello, welcome to this live Q&A, my weekly Q&A, where you can ask me questions and I can just chat to you in more detail about the things that I've covered this week on the blog, on Instagram, on YouTube and on Facebook. And they are some of the ways that you might hopefully be watching me right now. If you're watching this on catch up, then you can watch me on all those things as well. Now, to let me know you are watching, please do say hello. I can see already we've got Lau and Kirsty. Hello over there on Instagram. Great to see you. If you've got any questions, do just let me know. Likewise, if you are watching me on YouTube or on the Facebook community, say hello, ask me some questions so I know that it's working. That's the most important thing. Even if you haven't got a question, you just want to listen, see what other people say. It's really, really handy that you do that so I know that it's working. That's the main thing. So let me just quickly double check, see what's going on over here on there, if that's live or not. So what have I covered this week? So it seems to be working over there. Fantastic. Okay. Loads of things we can talk about. It is obviously the end of the financial year in a few days, so we can talk about that if you want. Any questions you've got on that. A lot of things have changed. A lot of bills have gone up from the 1st of April, from today, April Fool's Day. All those kind of things we can chat about. But I can also talk to you a bit more about my year with Amazon, my year without Amazon, give you my update on that for March, how I spent on that if you would like. I've got loads of questions that have come in advance, so I can start with those ones as well. So where should we go? Okay, we've got a question here on YouTube. Any new switch bonuses coming up? So this is about bank switching. I don't know. That's my answer. When we had lockdown last year, switching offers went straight away and they didn't come back until lockdown finished. After lockdown finished, we were looking around sort of August. I think the first ones came along, a few more in September, a few more in October. Then they kind of went before Christmas. We thought that'd be it for the rest of the lockdown. Lockdown's obviously gone on for a lot longer than we expected, but some did come back. Virgin Money carried on and they changed its offer, but then HSBC and First Direct added new ones. Now, those are the three offers you can get right now. Okay, so you can get some free wine and a charity donation via Virgin Money, you get free cash from HSBC and free cash from First Direct. No one else has got anything right now. And I would have thought that if they were going to offer something, they would have done it sooner than now in response to First Direct and HSBC. I wonder if they're just waiting a little bit more time until we ease out of lockdown. Now, restrictions are obviously relaxing on the 12th of April, so in what, like 10 days now? On the 12th, it's the 1st. That's an easy bit of maths, so I can work that out, okay? So in 12 days. So maybe we'll see more then, but I can't tell you exactly what the deals will be, and I can't tell you how much longer the ones that are offer will carry on. So if you've already done HSBC, First Direct and Virgin Money, you're just going to have to wait. If you want to get some cash, you could look at one of the TSB accounts and go via the cashback site Quidco. You don't have to switch to get these promos. You can just open the account. There are some hoops you have to jump through, which are detailed on the Quidco website. But that might be a way of getting a little bit of cash. It takes some time. You won't get it straight away. It could be 3, 4, 5 months before you get that money. But then you've got another account you can switch again and again. Hello to Libby, who's joined over on Instagram as well. And Lau, thank you so much for your comment. You learn a lot from my videos. Really appreciate that. That's why I do this. I want you guys to hopefully learn something new, get better with your finances. Always keen to hear about things you want me to talk about as well. So do share that. We've got over on YouTube, Abdallah as Maths Tutoring is back. Good to see you again, mate. It's always good to hear from you. And Foysha is back as well. So, Abdallah, let's start with your question here. Any advice on how to budget? And this is your classic question. You normally ask me this at the end of the episode, Abdallah, so I'm glad you've done it early on because it's such a big one. Any advice on how to save money? I keep blowing money on takeaways in Amazon. Okay, right, let's do that. Let's talk about takeaways and Amazon and how you can stop spending money at them, right? Because sometimes it feels like, particularly during the lockdown, that if you want to do something and need something a bit different or you're bored, so going to Amazon and shopping online at any retailer, it's really easy to spend some time, you're browsing, you look at stuff and go, oh, right, I'll grab that. And like with takeaways, you're cooking all the time for yourself. It can get a little bit boring, can't it? So you feel, right, a takeaway is a great thing. So how do we do it? Let's tackle Amazon first of all. This is something, as I mentioned at the top, I'm really passionate about this year. It's my year without Amazon. I'm not going to spend, well, that's the challenge at least, spend a single penny directly with Amazon. So I'm not going to buy any products from them at all. And it's actually proven easier than I thought it would be. My update that I've got for March, so on my Instagram account, if you want to check that out, @AndyCleverCash, on my grid, with that hashtag, year without Amazon, I'm doing different tips of how you can reduce your spend, why you might want to reduce or cut your spend, but also how my progress is going. So I've just published the March one today. I didn't spend any money with Amazon, so it's going really well. So 3 months down, I've not spent any monies with Amazon at all. And actually, it turns out I've saved money. I thought I would be spending more money by going to alternative retailers for the things I am buying. But at the moment, so far at least, I am saving cash. So that's been really interesting. But one of the big ways that I am avoiding Amazon and spending less with them is I cancelled my Amazon Prime. Now, that has been transformative because I thought, even if I got Prime, that's where I thought the temptation would come. I need something really quickly or whatever it might be, or there's some special offers. Because now I don't have Prime, I'm not going to Amazon at all to look for stuff. Yes, okay, it's a bit artificial because I am doing this challenge, so I'm consciously trying to do different things. But I promise you, if you have Amazon Prime and you cancel Amazon Prime, or maybe if you've got, don't have to cancel it for the whole year. If you want a monthly one, you can give it a miss for a month or two, see what happens. All of a sudden, psychologically, it's that break with Amazon. You don't feel, I've already paid for it, I need to shop with them. So in terms of shopping less at Amazon, I would top tip, cancel Amazon Prime. And similarly do that with other retailers as well. So, if you have got any kind of, there aren't many of them do similar things to Prime, to be fair, but anything you can do just to kind of not get on the website. So Prime gets you on the Amazon website. Similarly, other shops, delete the emails that come into your inbox. Unsubscribe so you haven't got that temptation. If you really want to go extreme with reducing your spending online, there are ways you can block them. There's a service called Icebox, which locks your computer. Just if you Google that Icebox, I think it's on finder.com. I'm not 100% on that. But it means you have to sort of extra few steps you have to put in if you want to use your debit card and shop online, which might stop you doing it. We'll come back to takeaways. I promise you will. We've got a few more questions coming in. Just want to sort of acknowledge them. Hello to Daniel. Hello to Pangotis. Hello, Money Medics. Hello to Justine. Good to see you all. Hello, Mauro as well. And do I say hello to Libby's? I think I did, but hello anyway. So we'll come back to that takeaways thing as well in a moment. Lau's got a question here on Instagram. I'm looking for my first credit card just to build up my credit score. I watched your videos, but you never mentioned Capital One. Would I recommend them? Okay, so this is really important. When I talk about any kind of credit card, whether it's the first time one like Lau is after, or whether it is, actually I think your name's Anne, isn't it? That's just something else on the front of your handle. Whether it's your first time one you want to do for credit building, or whether it is a cashback one or a balance transfer one, yes, I will tell you what the best deals out there are right now. The ones that give you the longest 0% period, the ones that will give you some extra freebies as a welcome bonus or cashback, right? That's all well and good. The card you want to get is the card that you can get. And just because there is a really good, I say really good, but a card out there with the longest deal or the highest rates, if you can't get it, it's not good for you. If there's a card that is going to offer you are going to get accepted for it, then that's the best card. So potentially, Capital One, if that pops up and you've got a good chance of acceptance in terms of getting that card, then that's a good credit card. There aren't necessarily good and bad credit cards broadly. The best credit card, as I say, is one that's best for you. And if you're not already aware of this, I do talk about this a lot in my videos when I do those credit card updates. You need to do something called an eligibility check, first of all. And this is, often you'll see this, it's kind of on the credit card websites themselves or on comparison sites. They'll let you do their soft check on your credit report. And that will give you a kind of, are you going to get this card? What are your chances of getting it? The higher the chance, it's not a guarantee unless it says guarantee, 10 out of 10, 100% or whatever it might be. But then they are better ones to apply for than ones that might say, 2 out of 10 or whatever it might be. Because you don't want to get rejected for a card because that's going to hurt you then if you're trying to get a different one. If you have a rejection, it makes it harder to get the next one and so on. So always do that eligibility check. And if Capital One comes out as the best one for you, then that's the one to go for. Hi to it's Laura. Okay, right. So it's Lau and Wads. It's Laura. Hello, Laura. Hope that helped you. Hi, Lee. Hi, Referral World. Good to see you guys. Any questions, do shout. Let's jump back to YouTube and Facebook. So Foysha has said, I've been getting lots of balance transfer and money transfer offers from Lloyds at Halifax. Gone from famine to feast. Now, this is something that happens quite a lot, isn't it? If you need to get a balance transfer credit card for whatever reason and you can't get one because your rating is low, then over time it builds up and you get to a situation where the debt's gone and you don't need a card, then they can't offer you. They keep offering. They keep pushing them at you. And you've hopefully, in that process you've gone through to get yourself out of debt, you've kind of changed that mindset and you know now not to get yourself back in there because you know what you were trying to escape. But yeah, they do try and push this stuff on you. So be strong, right? Resist applying for a card if you don't need it, okay? Again, loads more information about that. Give me a shout if you've got any questions. Rory has on YouTube, it says, "Hi Andy, love your content. Thanks so much for helping me pick the Amex I recently applied for and was accepted for." Brilliant, congratulations, Rory. I'm sure you know this already because you watched the video, but make sure, because it's a cashback card, the cashback's only worth anything if you clear that balance completely every single month. You don't want to get charged any interest. But yeah, and also with the welcome bonuses with American Express, it's always worth saying this again, it's not a target. Yes, you might get 5% on your first $2,500 spent. Doesn't mean you have to spend $2,500 if you haven't got that going on. Hopefully you've got everyday spending, you'll hit that total, but don't spend more than you would just to hit that level. But that's really good news, Rory. Thank you. Mike over on YouTube has asked how much to have as an emergency fund. Covered this a few times, but I'll quickly touch on it. The rule of thumb before the pandemic was to say to have 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses saved up in an easy access account. So this was essentially, the worst comes to worst, you lose your job or you're too ill to work and you lose your income, so you can still pay your rent and you can pay your mortgage and you can pay your bills and you can feed your family. That's the kind of the crunch of it. Having that much was what to aim for. Not everyone would be able to do that. And there was a report just a few weeks ago, maybe even this week, showing how little some people still have in savings. A lot of people have had the last 12 months, their savings have jumped up because they're not spending. Some people, they still haven't got anything in the worst position. So don't feel overwhelmed if you can't get that 3 to 6 months. And obviously that pot is also there if the boiler breaks or you need to the car fails the MOT or whatever. So use that same thing and then build it up again afterwards. You might feel over the last 12 months that you want more than 3 to 6 months. You might feel that you want to have that protection because of what's happened the last year. That's a thing that you have to make, a decision you have to make. But the idea of having it in easy access savings rather than a locked fixed savings account for a year, 2 years, whatever, or in investments, is that it is there straight away when you need it. So hopefully that was useful, Mike. Laura has come back on that question we talked about when first-time credit cards. Obviously got balance transfer, I guess you're going for. So I can have a card for a year, then move to another one. So balance transfers, you can have them for a set amount of time. They can be shorter ones, and often the shorter ones have lower fees. So the transfer fee goes, obviously doesn't cost you as much, but you've got less time to clear them out. Or you can have them for longer periods, potentially I think up to 29 months now, if my memory's right. 28, 29 months is the longest one, but there's a higher fee, 3 or 4% of the balance you transfer over. If you can, the ideal thing to do is to clear that balance in that time. So let's say you owe £1,000 and you've got 20 months, then you know £50 a month. Is that right? No, whatever. I can't do the maths on the fly. But whatever it is, you divide the total debt that you have by the number of months and you clear that every month so it's all gone by the end. That's the ideal thing to do. If you haven't cleared it and you can't clear it, then you could obviously transfer it to another card when that time comes, but there's no guarantee you'll get another card. So it's always a risky thing to do. Hi to Azika and Kleber over on Instagram. Great to have you there, guys. Back to some questions on YouTube and Facebook. So AAAA said, my preferred bank, Monzo or Starling? I use Starling. That's the account that I'm moving. I keep meaning to do it more fully, but I've still got a few standing orders to move over from Nationwide, because if you saw my article or video about banking apps, the Nationwide one is really frustrating. Much as I love it as a building society, as a current account, I don't like the app. So I'm moving things over to Starling, and that's really good. I find it quite intuitive, does lots of kind of smart, snazzy things. If I was someone who was using these apps more for savings though, so trying to kind of automate things to make me move more money out of my current account into savings, or if I was looking to budget more, use some tools for budgeting, then I would use Monzo instead. The reason I've probably gone for Starling over Monzo, to be honest, a couple of things. One, as an account, they don't have any caps for taking money out overseas. Okay, not done that for a long time, but that's always, I think, a better feature than Monzo, because they do have a cap and then charges. And also Monzo has been struggling financially. I wouldn't sort of stop using it because of that, because it needs people to use it. It needs people to use it as its main account for it to survive. But out of the two, yeah, I personally have stuck with Starling, but Monzo is a really good app in terms of, say, budgeting and savings. Loads more information about that. So what else we've got here? Julian, hello Julian, has said, when am I back on the telly? At the moment, there are no plans, but I would obviously love to get back on there. Although, to be fair, when I was doing Channel 5 for 18 months, something like that, I did neglect the podcast and the YouTube channel because I didn't have the time, because I was doing the blog and I was doing that, and it was full on for all that time. It's been a year and a bit now since those shows finished, and probably more than that actually. And the podcast and the YouTube channel have grown and grown and grown. Thanks to all of you guys watching, and listening to me. But obviously, I put more time and effort into it, and hopefully, it shows. And it's a more consistent content and more detailed content. So, if I was to get back on the telly, I wouldn't be able to do that. So it's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Panagoitis has said, really appreciate if you could answer the question I made you on your Insta account. Tap it in the comments below, because it might be that I've missed that one somewhere along the way. I can't obviously see all the things. So many things come along all the time. I can't answer everything, but I do my best. Hello to Amit. Hello to Laura. Hello to Bev. Great to see you guys. Any questions, just drop them below. Right, back to YouTube and Facebook questions. We have Abdallah has asked, what is the best savings account? And this links into actually a question I got in advance on Instagram yesterday from Chloe, who said, what should I do with my savings to earn the most interest possible? Now, I do a regular monthly update over on the YouTube channel, and probably daily or a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 times a week update on the blog, looking at the best savings accounts. So I'm due to do a savings video, if not for Sunday, for next Tuesday. But I'll give you a quick preview now on what the best ones are at the time of speaking. These things change very quickly. The highest rate of interest you can get right now in any savings account is 3.04%, which is a digital regular saver if you're an existing NatWest or RBS current account customer. So that's a good amount of interest, right? You think that's the best one. Problem is, you can only put a maximum of £50 away every month. Now, if you already have one of those current accounts, then I would open it and I would put 50 quid away, and you can keep doing that until you reach £1,000. After that, it stops paying interest. But you may as well do that. But we're not talking about a huge amount of money you're going to earn there. Next one down is 2.02%, and that is with Virgin Money's M Plus current account. You can switch that account, as we mentioned earlier on, and you can get free wine and a £50 donation as you do it, and also access to this interest in the current account itself. However, this is capped how much you can save in there. You can only save £1,000 and get interest. Obviously, it's a current account. You can have as much as you want in there, but you only earn interest on that first £1,000. But that's the next best place. So you may as well start there and have some money there. And if you don't want to use it as your main account, it's a good kind of backup account that you can have if for some reason you can't access your normal account, systems go down, whatever it is. Well, at least you've got another account you can access, and it's got money in there because you've got £1,000 in there and that's just sitting in there. Or if you don't have £1,000, you have what's in there, okay? But keep it separate. After that, things are not looking great right now. The regular savers on the whole have all dropped to 1% or below 1%. They're great ways to make you save every single month, so they're worth thinking about in that perspective, because you set up a standing order and the money moves out of your account, so that's great, but not a great account. You could argue, though, that because that 1% for most of them is fixed for 12 months, if rates continue to fall, at least you're going to get 1% in those regular savers. So I'm going to do more on that soon. The next easy access account, you look at 0.4%, which isn't great. So really what I would suggest, you could look at Chip Plus One, which is an account as part of the Chip AI app. It's a complicated one. I haven't got time to go into it right now. I've got a whole article that you should look at. I'm going to do an updated video on YouTube, but a whole updated article on the blog. Read that and it explains exactly how it works. But you get 1.25% on that, on savings up to £10,000. There is a fee that comes in if you save more than $2,000 in there, which actually works out that if it's good for a bit under £2,000 and good for above roughly £4,000, maybe a bit less than that, because obviously rates have changed. But if you have anything between £2,000 and £4,000, you actually lose money. So it's a bit complicated, but that's worth thinking about. And if you have more than £4,000 or £5,000 in savings, you want to put them in a lump sum, then premium bonds are not a bad option right now as well. There's no guarantee you'll get a return on them. But if you do, with the average rate of luck, and Money Saving Expert has a fantastic calculator for this to give you an idea of what you'd get, you should get the same or more than you would in most savings accounts. So I hope that's helped you guys both there. We have got hello to George, hello to Carolyn, Hello to Ange. Hello to Abdallah. You popped over to Instagram from from YouTube. I hope you got the answer to that question there. Back to a question here on Instagram from Kleber. Hi Andy, all these switch accounts, will they affect my credit score? Okay, so very quickly, I have got a whole video on YouTube about this and an article on the blog. So head over to those and check those out if you want more details, because I'll do this briefly. But when you switch your current account, you are credit checked for pretty much all accounts when you open them. Only Starling and Monzo don't credit check you unless you ask for an overdraft. If you have an overdraft, then they will credit check you. But all the other banks credit check. So that in itself, having your credit report checked has an impact on your credit report. So yes, they will affect you. But it's quite a minor one. And if you haven't got many other applications going on at the same time, it shouldn't really make too much difference either way. So if you open a new account and switch to it, it's not really that different from getting a new energy provider in that sense. It's a minimal kind of impact on your credit report. Where it can potentially make a difference is if you've had your account for a long time, because longevity on any account could be a credit card that you've had for 5-10 years, or your current account. If you close those or switch them over, whatever it might be, then suddenly the average age of your accounts shortens, and that can have, again, a small impact. But that does build back. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you are going to be applying for a mortgage, though, in the next sort of 6 months, remortgaging or your first mortgage, then it's worth just reducing any credit applications across the board. So whether that's a new phone contract or energy switching or a bank application or a credit card, try not to have anything at all, because it just keeps you clean as possible and focus on building things up. But otherwise, you're probably going to be okay. Can't promise you, but you should be fine. Again, check out the full article on that. Let's pop back to YouTube. Now, Mystic has asked me, and I appreciate you've asked me this on a comment, and I am going to get back to this. What's the best bank account for a 14-year-old with no interest paid in the account? And you've also asked me about it for 15-year-olds. Really, if you're not after interest, then the accounts are all going to be much the same. Sometimes you might need to have an account as an adult to open the junior one, so that might be a consideration you want to put into play. Places like Starling have extra accounts you can have as well for young kids, but you have to pay for those. So I think about that. There aren't really the kind of freebies you used to get. I don't know if you remember this. When I was little, NatWest used to give you little piggy banks, and the more you saved, the more they grew up. There aren't so many of those, but this is an area haven't looked into on a huge amount. I've just realised the microphone is really bad quality, guys. Let me just do that. You can hear me better now on YouTube and Facebook. Sorry about that. But I will look into current accounts rather than saving accounts for kids in the future. What else we've got in here going on? So Marcus said, I'm saving for a house for the next 18 months at 10k now, climbing to 50k. Where should I be saving and investing given it's a relatively short period? So if I don't presume it's not your first time. If it's your first time, obviously think about lifetime ISA so you can get the bonus. And the key thing with a lifetime ISA is it takes 12 months to activate it. So in terms of using it for your first time, so open it up straight away, even with £1 to keep that going. But I'm assuming you're not looking for your first home. 10k now, climbing to 50k. You're probably, to be fair, best looking at the premium bonds. There's no guarantee you'll get the interest, but 50k is the max you can put in premium bonds. The more money you have in a premium bond account, the more likely you are to win the bigger prizes. I'm not saying you'll get £1 million, but you're more likely to get that than if you had 50 quid or even £1,000 in premium bonds. Hope that helps. So Rydia has asked, I have a stocks and shares ISA. Can I open a stocks and shares ISA as well with £1? LISA as well. Which type can you not have two of? Okay, so this is an interesting thing. So with ISAs, the rule is you cannot pay into the same class of ISA in the same financial year. So April the 1st today, the new financial year is April the 6th. So in theory, if you put money into any class, so a class is a cash ISA, stocks and shares ISA, innovative finance ISA, and lifetime ISAs, forget about junior ISAs for the moment. They're the 4 classes. You could pay, if you wanted to, into all of those right now. But you couldn't pay also, in addition, before the April the 6th, into a second one of any of those. So that's how that works. And that's going back until April the 6th of last year, of 2020, that 12-month period. Come April the 6th of 2021, so next week, you can either pay into those existing ISAs you've got again, or you can open up a new ISA and pay into that. And that is the only one you can then pay into for that year of that class. But again, you can mix and match between them, and you can mix and match between a lifetime ISA of stocks and shares and a stocks and shares ISA, or a cash lifetime ISA and a cash ISA. If they're with the same provider, you just double check there isn't a caveat there. But generally, if there are other providers, that's absolutely fine. And the maximum you can put in across all the different ISAs is 20k. So you could have maximum of 4k in lifetime ISA, and that other 16k, if you have it, you can spread it across those other classes, 1, 2, or 3, or all of them. I hope that one helps you there. So Mystic has asked, if you ask any bank not to pay interest, would they be able to do this? Okay, so tell me if I'm correct here. Is this because you're after Sharia, Islamic compliant banking, so where interest isn't allowed? If that is the case, then I would be looking for a specific Sharia compliant current account. I don't know any of those on the top of my head. There are savings accounts that do this, and a number of those. And essentially this is because they offer what's called, in terms of interest, an expected return. So you'll get, it was an expected return of 0.6%, which actually I think is the leading fixed 12-month fixed account right now, maybe 0.65. Expected return, and you'll get that as essentially as a payment like interest, but it isn't interest because you can't have that within Islam. So I assume that's what you're talking about there, Mystic. Hello to Raman. Hello to, I don't know what I've done there, hang on. I've hit something here. I don't know how to get rid of that now. I can't see all my comments. Hello to Al. Hello to Shaz Doobie. Hello to Alka. Nice to see you guys. So I've got that question from Pangitis. Will I be able to get the £1,000 bonus for the tax year 2020-21? Have I missed the top of that question? Or will it be automatically added for the next year, 2021? Will I be able to get the 1,000? Okay, I assume you're talking about the lifetime ISA here. This is the £1,000 bonus. If you paid £4,000 in, 25% of that is £1,000. If you paid less than that, then you'll get 25% of whatever it is you've paid in. So if you pay that money in before the financial year ends, you will get the bonus for the payment in this year, as long as the account has received it. So they should all do this, but double check that when you make the payment in that they've got it and it's in the account by that date, you'll get the bonus. Then at the start of the next financial year, you can put in more money. Could be another 4k, could just be a bit more, but you'll get that bonus again. It's paid monthly. But yes, absolutely. If you can get your money in to a lifetime ISA before the end of this financial year, before the 5th of April. So what is that? Even though it's Tuesday? Yeah. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, whichever it is, then you will get that bonus. I think that's what you're asking me there. So I hope that is the question. Let's jump back to YouTube questions. Barry's asked, are you going full Starling? Last time said you were moving from Starling to Nationwide. So I mentioned this earlier on, actually, at the beginning of, not the beginning, halfway through the chat. I am going full Starling. I am doing that. When I say full Starling, though, you've got to remember that me, as the money geek that I am, as the current account geek that I am, I do have, what was it, 15 current accounts at the last count? So I do have different accounts for different reasons. So there will be things that are coming out of that account to get that benefit, things over there for that benefit. But in terms of my day-to-day banking, so if I owe a mate money or I've got to transfer money to my wife or whatever it is, that is going to be via Starling. Another reason, actually, I should have said before, why it's working really well for me is that my business bank account is also with Starling, so it's much more easier to transfer money across if I need to. Obviously, don't do that a huge amount. But yeah, I am moving across as right now. I mean, if Nationwide improved their app, I would go back to them because I think in terms of a reasonable, ethical current account, Nationwide is right up there. It is one of the best ones. Starling has scored really well ethically compared to a lot of the other banks, but in its last round of funding, and this was quite interesting, it wasn't reported on massively. My friend Lynn Beattie, who runs the Mrs. Mummy Penny blog, she mentioned it, tweeted about it as well. They got some new investment recently, and that investment was part of it was from the Qatari royal family. And obviously there are various issues there in terms of the human rights issues around the World Cup and the treatment of the people making the stadiums and so on. There were also broader things about how else they're investing and where else they're investing. So that's an interesting one for me that I'm going to follow and see what goes on with that and see how that changes. But for the moment, Starling is a good app, a great app, a good account, does everything I need it to do, and it's still better ethically than the likes of HSBC or Barclays or whoever it might be. So Steve, right, it's 1:30. I'm going to carry on if you want to. I know it's going to stop at 1:30. I'm going to carry on because there's still quite a few more questions to go through. So we'll work through some of these. Maybe I'll call time now on new questions. If you've got any more questions, maybe save them until next week or send them through to me on any of the channels. You can comment on the video on Facebook or on YouTube, Instagram. You can send me a DM or again comment on this live, which will be available afterwards. And you can email me as well or comment on the blog. Loads of different ways you can do this. But let's sort of work through some of these. Kleber, 15 bank accounts, Kleber has said, legend. It's more than you need, right? I've got 15 for various reasons. A lot of them are going to be dead very soon because the promotions, the offers I've got for them aren't doing anything. Like the TSB Classic Plus accounts, I've still got 2 joint accounts of those and one of those solo. They stopped offering interest in December. I've still got them because, it might be useful for me to switch them or something might change, but really, realistically, the usable accounts is probably we're getting down to 10, 11, 12. Still too many, right? For you guys, you don't need that many, but even so. Hello, Minimalist Money Mum. You've joined right at the end. We've got about another 10 minutes or so while I answer these questions, but thanks for joining. I hope you get something from this. You can watch the rest of it on replay. So let's have a look. So Steve has asked, did you know for savings, the Nationwide Reward account pays £5 reward each month on 5k? So as long as you switch £1,500 each month via a standing order, it gives you equivalent of 1.2 interest. Good show. Thanks, Steve. Now, this is a really interesting one, the Halifax Reward accounts. I say interesting, I find it interesting. Hopefully you'll find it interesting as well. That's why you're watching. So the Halifax Rewards account, as Steve says there, it is a paid account. So you have to pay in a certain amount of money to avoid the fee. I think you have to have some direct debits. Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what those conditions are, but they're easy hoops to jump through to avoid paying the monthly fee. And in return, you're then eligible as well to get a reward. Now, this can be £5 a month, so it works out 60 quid a year. It can be cinema tickets, which are pretty useless right now. It can be movie rentals, which can be pretty useless right now as well because no new titles are coming out. And they can also be like digital magazine subscriptions, which again, I think are pretty useless because you can get those for free generally from your local library on your iPad or whatever it is. So I think that right now the best option is that £5 a month. How to get this? There are 2 ways. As Steve said, if you have £5,000 saved in that account every single day of the month, right? Every single day, if you go below by a penny, one day of the month, you lose that reward, okay? If you're 5k in, you will get that reward. And over a year, it works out the equivalent of 1.2%, which is pretty good, right? However, you can get that £5 reward or any of the reward you choose if you spend £500 on your debit card in a month. Now, this is the better option right now. If you're like me, originally when this came out, I thought, well, I'm not going to change my spending from my cashback credit card to this debit card just to get that reward. I'll stick with spending on my Amex and get the cashback. But once someone got in touch, a reader got in touch, I can't remember who it was now. In my head, it's something like Doogie. I'm not quite sure if that's right. Pointed out that you can use your Halifax Rewards debit card to pay off your cashback credit card. So what I do now is I use my cashback credit card for pretty much all my spending. And then I get once the first of the month, so I'm going to do it today. After we finish this, maybe tomorrow, I will pay off £500 off that credit card with my debit card and I will get the reward. Now, the reason this is better than using the savings option is as long as I spend 500 quid, I'm guaranteed. As I said before, if you dip below that 5k on the savings option, you don't get anything. Plus, it also means it frees up £5,000 for me to put in a different savings account, whether that's a premium bond or an Easy Access account, whatever it is, I'll get more for that. So that is why it's an interesting one, Steve, and it's well worth pointing that out. But I would definitely go with the debit card option instead. We've got Nick and Joe, hi there on Instagram. We're near the end now, but thanks for joining. We've still got a few questions to go through, so do stick around. Ilian has said, is there a way to open an account with Starling Bank without proof of address? I think that's incredibly unlikely. They need to know who you are and you generally need to have an address. I'm not sure why it is that you don't have proof of address. If you have a residence that you do live at, then get that proof of address. It's going to be useful in so many ways. But I do remember years ago, I volunteered at my Citizens Advice Bureau as a financial capability trainer, and once did a few sessions with a homeless shelter. It wasn't a shelter. It was people who were they'd been homeless, but now they were in sort of halls kind of thing as they were moving back into trying to reintegrate into normal life. And their problem was they didn't have a permanent residence, so they couldn't get ID, so they couldn't then get bank accounts, all these kind of things. It was a real issue. There are ways around that, but I need to look into that in more detail. So if that's what you're talking about, then that's a lot harder. And with Starling, I think it's incredibly unlikely. Ms. Dick come back and said yes when we talked about the Sharia accounts. So that's what you need to look into then. Sharia compliant current accounts. Google it. I would say there would be some options. Let me know what you find. In terms of savings accounts, and the article I've got on the blog on becleverwithyourcash.com, I have got a couple of Sharia accounts available there. They're not for kids, they're for adults. There might be some other caveats, but do check that out. Mark has said, here's the first time, and this Mark asked a question about saving for your first home. Here's a first time buyer and using a cash lease and premium bonds. It looks like he's on the right track. Yes, fantastic. Yes, you are. Getting to the end here. So Abdallah has asked, what's my email address? If you want to get in touch on email, andy@becleverwithyourcash.com. I can't promise I will be able to answer all of your questions either through time or whatever it is, but it's always great to hear from you. And if I can, I'll either answer it on this. I mean, there's loads of questions which were sent in advance. I didn't get a chance to come through in advance because you guys have been asked these questions live, which has been great. But hopefully I will be able to get back to you. And a few more comments here. Yes, we wrap these things up. Yep, so appreciative of your time, Andy. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I really enjoy doing this. It's really good. And I hope you guys do get something from it. And Ilian said, thank you. I'm living with my parents right now. They pay for everything. That's why I can't get it. So you can't get the idea because you're living at home. Okay, that's an interesting one. I will have a think about that and maybe we'll come back to that in another time because that's really good point. How do you get that when you are still at home and the bills are in their name? Maybe you can get added to the bills if you want to do that. Hopefully, yeah, you're contributing to your being at home as well. But let's see that. That was it, guys. Thank you so much. I hope it was useful. We'll be back again with another one of these next week. Any advanced questions, do send them through and say come through on those other areas. And as ever, quickly say to you, if you want to get the best of the blog, what I do every single week, didn't really talk about any of those today because so many of your questions. Sign up to my newsletter. Head to becleverwithyourcash.com/newsletter. You will get this to your inbox every Thursday. The best of the blog, best of the podcast, best of the YouTube videos, best of the deals that I've spotted every Thursday. So it means at least you'll get everything. You won't have to kind of look around and try and find stuff. Right, have a good long weekend. If you're off work, enjoy it. I know we can't do the things we normally would do at Easter, but I hope you are able to relax a little bit. I'll still be working. That's what you get when you're self-employed. But I'll see you guys all next week.